Chapter 15. The Bible is alive. It speaks to me. It has feet. It runs after me. It has hands. It lays hold on me. Martin Luther. I'm again sitting in Jean Michel's office. Outside his window, a nighttime rain beats lightly against the glass. Multicolored neon lights shimmer through the slick wetness. The headlights of passing cars on Santa Monica Boulevard are rimmed in sparkling halos of misty white brightness. Just back from Hawaii, I stare anxiously at the rain rivulets running down the window pane and hope the weather will not delay Cindy's flight. She's flying in for the weekend, and I can't wait to tell her about the lava dives. Are you listening to me? Jean Michel's voice snaps my attention back to him. Yes, boss, I replied, sitting up more attentively in my chair. Jean Michel impatiently taps a pencil on his desk. What was I saying then? That Michel Delore forgot something, I replied, pleased to know the answer. Yesterday, Michel Delore flew directly from Hawaii to Papua New Guinea to join the windship Alcyon, Cousteau Society's newest research vessel. Would you like to know what Michel forgot? Jean Michel asks. Alarm bells are suddenly going off in my head. Am I the one responsible for the forgotten item? What did he forget? I nervously inquire. Jean Michel consults his notebook. I watch his index finger going down a brief list, which is not only upside down from my perspective, it is also in French. Lacking any visible hints, I anxiously await my fate with a pounding heart. Jean Michel's finger pounces on the missing item. You, he exclaims with great drama. Me? What? I ask imploringly. You, Jean Michel says, pointing an accusing finger at my chest. You are what he forgot. He forgot me? I want to feel relief. Instead, I'm feeling slightly confused. Yeah, you. Jean Michel grins, then slides an airline ticket across the desk. You're leaving for Papua New Guinea tomorrow evening at 8 o'clock. But, I sputter hopelessly. Cindy's arriving tomorrow night. Good. You're going to need her help. I am? In my mind, all the fun things I plan to share with Cindy over the weekend are fading. Jean Michel hands me a lengthy telex. It seems Alcia needs a few things. I quickly scan the telex, which begins with the sentence, Dear Stephen, you'll be welcome aboard Alcyon if you bring the following. What follows is a 3-page shopping list. 4 days later, I'm again looking out a window at a nighttime rain. A bright slab of lightning reinforces this is not a gentle California rainstorm. This is a tropical thunderstorm, 8,000 miles away from the comfort of Jean Michel's office. I'm aboard the research vessel Alcyon and sailing straight into a massive thunderhead. Glancing at the revolving light bar on the radar scope, I see the towering clouds painted in an angry red light. The windship is sailing straight into the heart of the storm. Fortunately, at the 10-mile range on the scope, I see we should hit clear water in another hour. It is my very first watch aboard the windship, and other than being slightly seasick, I feel terrific. At the helm of the world-famous research vessel, with a course set for adventure, I'm living out my childhood dream, watching heavy raindrops pelting the windship's plate glass windows. I turn up the music on the stereo. Beach Boys are singing California Girls, which sets me to thinking about Cindy. Our big weekend date lasts less than 18 hours. We spent the entire time packing 22 boxes of supplies. We went to the airport together, she with her light carry-on bag and me with my mountain of luggage. Dropping her off at the domestic terminal, I collected a hug and a wisecrack. Cindy assured me on the dating scale this weekend should not be considered the highlight in our relationship because we spent the entire time packing supplies, I asked unhappily. No, because you're going off on another fun adventure, and I'm going back to school. Cindy punches me in the arm to add impact to her words. Hey, school can be exciting too, I offer defensively. You want another punch? Cindy playfully draws back her fist, but instead of hitting me, she leans her head against my chest and fakes a sniffle. It is amazing how well Cindy works my emotions. Before I know it, I'm apologizing for unfairly going off on another adventure. Then I grab a hug and go alone into the international terminal. On the Alcyon's bridge, the Beach Boys song comes to an end, but my thoughts about Cindy continue. Her comments about adventure have set me to thinking. In a quality relationship, both people must share equally. Since Cindy and I are both adventure hounds, it is only fair if I ensure that she gets her quota of excitement too. One of the challenges of love or friendship is to always share. Sharing improves everything it touches. A thick bolt of lightning strikes the ocean off to the starboard side. A few seconds later, the vibrato of deep rolling thunder momentarily blends with the Beach Boys' song Good Vibrations. The powerful, uplifting beat fits my mood perfectly. Humming along with the music, I step to the chart table to check our position. Our destination is the Bismarck Archipelago, a long chain of lush tropical islands in the northern waters of Papua New Guinea. Staring at the chart under my hands as I prepare to plot the Alcyon's course, I realize that our lives are also like a charted course. In life, we are always coming from somewhere and going somewhere else. Realizing that this is basically a never ending journey, it is not the single destination that counts as much as the quality of the passage. As a Christian, I have strong motivations to live each day with the right focus. My daily goal is to make positive choices and to do good work. The chart in my hands points out the various marine hazards, such as rocky shallows and underwater reefs. With this map, I can easily navigate the Alcyon past the obstacles as long as I know where I am in the first place. Being a Christian gives me daily starting points. The chart I use for life is found in the Bible in Mark 12:30-31. It is here that Jesus is asked, of all the commandments, which is the most important? Love the Lord your God with all your heart, and with all your soul, and with all your mind, and with all your strength. And the second is this: love your neighbor as yourself. There is no commandment greater than these. By following these two simple laws, we are automatically on the right course. We always know exactly where we are and where we're going. Any decision in life can be weighted against these two laws, making the correct answer easy to find. Later that night, Theory relieves me at the helm. Going below, I silently step into the captain's cabin and get into the lower bunk. Quietly slipping under the covers, I let the rolling motion of the ship lull me to sleep. Early the next morning, the Alcyon arrives at Long Island. We anchor in a quiet cove with tall palm trees leaning out over the water. The island is volcanic in origin, rising rather abruptly out of the ocean during the 18th century. It has extremely steep sides that lead up to a gigantic crater 700 feet above sea level. Inside the crater is a huge lake and inside the lake is an active volcano. Mutmut happens to be the newest volcano on Earth, having risen out of the lake less than 3 years ago. Getting to it requires a seaplane, which lands at our anchorage an hour after sunrise and taxis up to the stern of the Windship. Cousteau's seaplane is called Papillon, which means butterfly in French. Sitting beside the pilot is an Australian scientist named Patty. She is here to study the flora growing on the juvenile volcano. The seaplane ferries the Cousteau team up to the lake, 3 people at a time. It seems a strange journey to fly upward alongside the island's sheer cliffs. We discover at the top of the crater a wide lake with another island in the middle of it, the shores of which are 600 feet above sea level. In awe of our unusual journey, Michel Delory exclaims in French, "Incredible it is an island inside of an island." I nod in agreement, unsure how to express, in French, the wonder I'm seeing. What makes Mutmut particularly unique and of acute scientific interest is its near isolation. People have no access to it because of the surrounding island's sheer cliffs. The lake is scalding hot, with temperatures ranging from 120 to 170 degrees Fahrenheit. Therefore, there is as yet no known active marine life in the vicinity of Mutmut. Fortunately, the hotter water is near the bottom where the heat is radiating upward from the volcano's foundation. The surface will be cool enough, 120 degrees, to land the Papillon. We land a short distance from Mutmut, where the water is cooler, then taxi across the hotter water to a black gravel beach at the volcano's base. The Papillon's pontoons come to rest in only a foot of water. We scurry along the pontoon, then dash quickly across the last couple of yards of hot water to the beach. Rapidly, each of us discovers that the gravelly beach has hot and not so hot spots. Finding a solid rock ledge that feels almost cool to the touch, I set down my equipment, then scurry back to the Papillon to collect more gear. Unlike Kilauea, the juvenile volcano is not releasing lava. Instead, Mutmut is slowly growing. The lava inside causes it to swell upward approximately 2 to 3 inches each day. Its sloping sides weep steam and smoke from the intense heat contained within. Yet on this visibly hot surface, there is life. Visiting birds, or strong trade winds, have left seeds which find root in rocky nooks and crevices. It seems impossible, but amongst the dark, smoking rocks here and there are green sprigs growing toward the sunlight. On the black, gravelly beach is where the most plant life is found. There are mosses, long stemmed grass, and a few ferns growing in the shade of steaming rocks. While Patty takes samples for later study, I set about doing some exploring on my own. I feel Mutmut's heat radiating through my thick boots as I scramble up 300 feet to the volcano's rim. The miniature cone's interior is mostly smoking rock and rubble. Circling the rim, I hunt for new vegetation. Behind a rocky ledge, sheltered from some heat, I discover a 3 foot tall broadleaf plant. Squatting down, I pause to admire this deceptively sturdy plant. Its fragile roots wrap in a tight weave around sharp edged rocks, anchoring the delicate main stem. There's no visible soil, yet the plant is thriving. It is a triumph over adversity. I'm quite proud of the little courageous plant, as I lead Patty to see it. Her squeal of delight makes me feel almost like a proud father. In my mind, the plant and I have bonded. Therefore, imagine my shock when Patty pounces on the plant, ripping it up by the roots. What have you done? I shout in dismay. Patty looks truly surprised. Why, I'm taking a sample, she says, shaking gravel from the torn roots. That's not a sample, it's the whole plant. I stare at the shredded roots and torn stem. It's called science, silly. Patty is clamping the plant into a wooden press to preserve its shape. Why couldn't you just take a leaf or two? Surely that would have given you the data you need. I'm beginning to wonder if I am being silly, making such a big deal over a plant. Well, Patty says as she stands and brushes off her hands, I need to know its height, weight, and biomass. She sounds as if she's addressing a fairly dense student. From the roots, we will do a mineral analysis, determine water content, and check acid levels. Now, I'm truly feeling silly, but I then remember how good the plant made me feel. As the scientist finishes tightening the screws on the wooden press, I see a few crushed leaves and bruised stems drooping beyond the wooden sides. It makes me mad. I'm not buying it, Patty. I beg your pardon? But when you did when did you become a scientist? Patty is getting fired up herself. It's the main thrust of your investigation to examine the growth of life on Mutt as an isolated landmass. And did you not just rip up the only plant of its kind that we've been able to find on the entire island? In fact, won't that potentially upset the parameters of your studies? I'm just getting into swing when Patty angrily interrupts me. Okay, I promise not to rip up any more plants. I'll only take small samples. With that, Patty goes off to a more remote side of Mutt. Sitting down on the hot stone, I stare at what remains of the shredded roots. Sometimes people do things under the justification of a cause. However, this does not automatically make them right. In labs around the world, innumerable helpless animals suffer in the name of science. Maybe it is hard to argue with this practice when human lives are at stake. But what about the cosmic company scientist who would clamp a rabbit's eyelids open and saturate the helpless animal's eyes with harsh chemicals just to see if a new hairspray will irritate a person's eyes? Cosmetic company will continue to abuse this defenseless animal on a regular basis to see if cancers or styes eventually form, all in the interest of selling a cosmetic product. Looking into the crevice, I see that there is still a bit of the main root left. So I pour a little water from my canteen onto the damaged root in hope that the plant might regenerate itself. Heading back down the beach, I see Patty. She has both hands wrapped around a clump of grass, which she is jerking vigorously. In the middle of the clump is a delicate purple flower. Finally, pulling the entire clump free, she dumps the grass and flowering plants onto the press. In the frenzy of her activity, she doesn't notice the flower and it is picked up by the trade winds. It's swirling in the breeze and settles in a nearby volcanic crack. Continuing my way down the mountain, I unscrew the top of my water bottle, then gently pour the remainder of the contents on the flower. I doubt that my little bit of water will make much of a difference, but it makes me feel good. Pausing to watch Patty vigorously twisting the screws to her wooden press, I think that some researchers can be so focused on their studies that they are blind to the true wonder that is about them. Where they may see biomass, I see the beauty of God's creation. A little science estranges men from God, but much science leads them back to Him. Louis Pasteur.